Let's get.
G'day everybody, welcome to Sketch Biz. I'm Lauren and I'm joined by the lovely Derek Laufman. Hello, how are you?
Thank you for having me, Lauren.
Oh, no problem at all. I think you know pretty well that I'm a huge fan of yours and we've been following each other for quite some time. So
Yeah.
absolute pleasure having you on, which is, it's a nice little moment for me.
Well, it's a pleasure for me too. I'm a big fan of yours as well. And it would have been like 10 years since we've been
Yeah,
following each other, I feel like.
yeah. I did a little sneaky back check on Instagram
I think you were one
2016.
of the first, bunch of artists I followed
Oh,
on
really?
Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, I'm honored.
I feel like you were an early adopter of mine.
Yeah, that's good. So once again, thank you for coming on. And so Sketch Biz is all about just, catching up with other creators, because I'm all the way on the other side of the world. So it's actually really cool to be able to catch up via the interwebs and, hang out, draw. And today we're going to be drawing one of your original characters, so Duncross from Crimson
Yes.
Fall, which is one of your many projects that you've either self-published or worked on, which is incredible. You're doing a little bit of a squizzy in terms of your background, and you've got a bit of a list of work that you've done, which is really impressive.
Yeah. I've been around a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you want me to start? You want me to go
Uh, I want to go back. Well, first off, we're going to just get started drawing. I'm not going to share my screen all the time, but I want to
okay.
go back to You started in animation, correct?
I did. I studied classical animation. I didn't take it with the idea that I was going to work in animation. I just thought I could apply those things to comics. That was sort of comics was always a sort of goal of mine, and so I took animation, and it was a 3-year course at Sheridan College in Oakville, Ontario. And it was one of the better animation schools out there, so I was lucky to get in. There was like a couple thousand people that would apply, and they only take a small amount. So it was great. Like, I was surrounded by a lot of talented people. It was humbling because I think I went into the program, from being one of the better art students maybe at my high school to surrounded by all these like uber talented people that I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know what I'm doing at all. But it was great because I got to learn from other artists, and I found that was almost like the best takeaway, even more so than actually, like the teaching was great, but I think just being around other talented peers, we kind of push each other,
Yeah.
and and then also they start to familiarize you with other things. I think sort of like I got to discover like Mignola through college when he was working on Atlantis, because everybody was hyped that like Mignola was going to be working on Atlantis, and it was like anything to do with animation the kids were always like talking about.
Yeah.
So that was always like a bit of a driving factor for what they were into. And so anyway, I graduated from animation thinking I was going to do comics, and had a couple of indie things going on the side, and then I had a poor experience. It was probably like my first year out of college. I had a book deal, or not really a deal in place, but it was a studio I was working for. A friend of mine and me had written this like a pitch for this like fantasy series, and it was picked up by Image, and
Nice.
then so we were super excited, and I thought I was on my way. They even had Joe Mad's colorist Liquid coloring it.
Oh, wow.
So I was just like, wow, I was blown away. Like, it was like such a cool experience, and some of the best work I had done up to that point. And but I don't know what happened because I never got the full story.
Yeah.
But they basically, I think they had overpaid us all, and I think they were troubled by what the budget was per page, because I think they
Wow.
were very, like, the studio wasn't very I don't think they really understood what the comic market was like. That's what I guess was going on. But anyway, they undercut us out of the project, hired some other artists to come in. They wrote it themselves, and I just got like shoved aside. And I didn't. I was just a student. I had no money. I wasn't gonna like sue anybody. But they
Mm.
had like taken like and rewritten our story, and then like took all my concepts and like even like ripped off some of my pages. And it was just like, yeah, a real heartbreaking situation.
Yeah, it
And
left a real
so
sour
I,
taste.
yeah, and I really just like, and at that time too, like this is like 2005, I think around there. And so there
Hmm.
wasn't like a lot of like avenues for comics. Like self-publishing wasn't really a thing that it was easy to get into or I really had a grasp on.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of left comics. I was just like, I don't want to work in comics. This is horrible. If this is the kind of stuff that goes on. And so I ended up getting into video games, and I worked in video games for like 10 years. 5 with a studio called Big Blue Bubble. We
Hmm.
did a lot of like casual games, and I like later on they did some iPhone stuff, but it was like a lot of mobile, flash games, things like that. But they weren't games that like got me excited to like work on games.
Yeah. Well,
um,
I feel like the app games kind of just blew up for a little second there, and then they've died off slightly. But
Yeah, like they sort of were. I don't know. I guess they were kind of in the cusp of like the iPhone app boom a little bit, but it was kind of near the end of my sort of time there. I had sort of been burnt out working on stuff that wasn't really my cup of tea,
mm,
and I got to wear a lot of hats there, so it was kind of good for certain experiences, and I made a lot of friends there,
mm,
so that was great, and still I'm friends with today. So like there was good things and bad things about it. But yeah, it was just I fucking hate this drawing. Sorry.
start again.
I'm not warmed up. I'm just like I'm starting to sketch this. I'm like, that's a little big shit. Um, so yeah, like basically, I worked and then I had my own studio with a friend of mine for like 5 years, and we tried to sort of do the indie game thing, and we
Hmm.
had like mild success, but it wasn't really enough to like warrant like us continuing after a while. And I was having my second kid, and my program was having his first kid, and it was just too much. Like we just weren't making enough money. I was taking on other freelance jobs at the time, and my cat decided to join us. And so um, yeah, so like I was taking on all the freelance stuff anyway, and we just decided to sort of like break up the company and not try to chase that dream, because it was like you have to pour everything into something,
Yeah.
and
And
it just
the
wasn't
amount of
working.
juggle, like if it's your own thing as well, the amount of juggle that you have to do to keep everything moving consistently is just that in itself is tiring.
Yeah, it's hard, and then you're trying to like do freelance work on the side to sort of like make some money to pay all your bills, and like I said, I
Mm,
had kids, and and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it was just too much for us, and it was the right decision to like sort of move on. We gave it a good go though, and it was a good time. There's good things about it, stressful things about it, but um, yeah. So that's like kind of like when the time when I hooked up with like Sean Galloway, working with him
yeah.
at Table Taffy Studios,
Amazing artist.
and what's that?
Amazing artist. He's another one that
Yeah,
I've been
yeah, he's
following for ages.
incredible. And I always say he's like probably like anytime anybody ever asks me like is it too late to kind of like get into art, like he really like started like later in his like mid to late 20s,
Mm,
and just skyrocketed through like hard work and like dedication. And yeah, it was just like super impressive to see how his come up happened, and
yeah.
just like the leaps the guy took. So
Well,
really
he's got
inspiring.
so much joy coming out of him. I think that's a big thing in itself is the
Yeah,
fact that he's
yeah, he
enjoying it
loves
so
it.
much.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
loves it. So um yeah, so like basically I worked with him for probably about 3 years,
Hmm.
on and off with his studio. It was great, just like kind of like learning from each other, just sort of bouncing back and forth. It was like a nice little like kind of like being in the studio again, because we go
Yeah.
online and like kind of do like a couple hour sessions with like me and him and a couple other guys in the studio. And yeah, so we did that, and that was great, and got me some good experience. My sort of like chibi art started taking off. I was doing chibi art just sort of like as an outlet, like to sort of
Bit of
um,
fun.
yeah, like it was just I was like, you know what, I just want to do like I was used to doing game sprites,
Yeah.
and so I didn't really know what chibi art was like when I started doing it.
Yeah.
I kind of later found out it was called chibi art, but yeah, it was just pretty much like I was used to those sort of proportions, and I'm like, I'm gonna sort of just see what I can do and do some like badass kind of stuff. And I was trying. I knew Skottie was doing the baby stuff, and I'm like, how do I differ myself from like, you know, and John Samariva? Do I say his name right? You probably know John pretty
Summer.
well.
Yeah. I was about to say, was John in the studio when you were sharing it with Sean?
No,
No.
no,
Okay. Because
I
I'm
don't
pretty
know if
sure
he
those
ever
guys
worked with
did.
Table Taffy. I know. I think they were working like they were sort of like in that
I
lead
think they just
heavy.
shared a studio. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah. So like anyway, it was just like kind of trying to differ myself from those guys, and
Mm.
um, you know, sort of found my little like unique sort of way of like doing chibi stuff, and that just took off for me, and it really like um, got
I was about
my
to say,
freelance
like
career
that
going.
that's when your stuff just kind of exploded a little bit. And I remember
Hmm.
like every time I would jump on somewhere, Pinterest or whatever, looking for um, references or inspiration, yours would always just be like bang, first page, like every
Yeah,
time.
no, no, yeah, it was like it was a weird experience, like kind of like having your work blow up like that, and that was sort of like in the, I think I kind of hit social media at the right time when algorithms weren't really like holding us
Oh,
back too much.
back when it was good. Ugh.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny, like I think like we sort of reconnected. I think probably about like 6 months ago. I want to say like there was a time when like there's a lot of artists that it was not showing me, and like I feel like
Yeah,
it's like one of these things where like I'm like I hadn't seen Lauren's art in like forever,
yeah.
and so I went on and like looked for your stuff. I'm like, you've been posting like
And I'm not
all
seeing it.
this
Yeah,
time,
they're
and it's like
gatekeeping each
it's
other.
yeah, and it's so like, and I always like kind of was concerned when I first like started joined social media, like not to follow too many people, but
Mm,
over time you just start to like, you know, you meet people at cons or whatever, you're like, I'll follow you, and you're following a list like it's bigger and bigger and bigger,
yeah,
and it just became like really hard to like keep tabs on people. So that was just like, yeah, it was just I don't know, algorithm stuff just annoys me.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and
That's a whole nother ballgame.
and that's the thing too. Like I know, like people ask me, like, how do you get followers? Like now, like, and I'm like, I have no idea. Like
No, yeah,
it's
I
so
just you
different.
just roll with it. It's don't try and tackle it because you're just going to go down this hole and just never come back.
Yeah, if you think it's like something like, can I do this right? I don't even know if there's a right or wrong to approaching it at this point.
Mm.
Like I don't know if you've had anything like, do you? I mean, imagine like me over the years, you sort of try to think if you can like crack the code, so to
Oh
speak.
no, not at all. Like some of my stuff will just I'll wake up in the morning because a lot of my stuff doesn't really explode when I or like if there is a post that's going to explode, it's not on Australian time because for some reason my stuff doesn't really reach too many Australians.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
weird.
overnight I'll wake up and it's just gone over to the States because that's when people are awake, basically.
Ah,
And then yeah, you wake up and the posts that do gain traction, like that recent one I did of Psylocke, that one
okay.
went bonkers. And I mean, that was yes, it looks cool, and it was a new technique that I did or something. But yeah, no idea what I said or how I worded it or what if hashtags even play a part in it. And
Right.
you read about it, and they're like, it doesn't matter what hashtags you use now. It's all about what the caption says. But then you read something else, and it's like captions mean nothing. It has to be a real blah blah blah. It's just like I can't,
Uh,
and I honestly can't be bothered because it just makes me pull away from it. And I know I can't do that
yeah.
because that's where you get a lot of your people coming in and new followers and blah blah blah.
But I even find like sometimes I just lately, probably in the last like year, I have stepped away for like maybe a week or two at a time. Sometimes like
Mm,
I'm just really not posting that much. Um, and I don't really notice like much of a difference anymore. Like it
No,
used
I don't.
to,
I'm exactly the
you
same.
know, it's not, yeah. So it's just so different. So, but yeah, I'm sure we could complain about
Yeah.
the algorithm shit for forever. But yeah, so anyway, like yeah, my career took off because of that stuff,
Hmm.
and that just kind of gave me enough sort of funds to be able to explore and work a bit on my own projects. So and I, for the longest time, I was really nervous about writing my own books. I knew it's something like I kind of wanted to do because I really wanted to do books just completely on my own. I had that sort of drive. I wanted
Yeah.
to like own,
Well,
like
after
just
being
have
burned
ownership
so
over the whole
badly.
thing. Yeah, yeah, there was part of that too. Didn't want to, and also like because I had done the game studio thing with a friend of mine, and there was other like pressures that go along with that. There was a part of me that goes, you know what? If I'm just responsible for myself,
Yeah.
there's less pressure as well. So I'm like, if I could just do everything myself, so I taught myself like lettering and writing, just trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure out writing,
Yeah.
and it's yeah. So I created Rune World during that time. This was like 2016
Hmm.
when I first started doing that, and it was kind of interesting to sort of like go from like fan art, like so much fan art, to hey, this is something I made, and to see the
Hmm.
reaction of people and like,
But to
are they
say, what
reacting
was,
to it?
well, how did people take that? Because I always find when I either talk about or show something that is of my own original content, nobody wants a
Yeah.
bar of it because they're not, maybe they're not comfortable with it. They're not, it's not something that's
Hmm.
relatable to them.
It took time. I would say like I was getting probably about 15% of the likes I would normally get on a post. So
Yeah.
there was interest, but it wasn't to the degree as like my other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and so there was part of me that was like, especially when you were chasing, like at that point too, I was chasing likes a lot.
Hmm.
It was such a like it was almost ingrained in me, like if a post didn't get enough likes, I'm like, oh well,
Yeah.
clearly
I
this
failed.
drawing wasn't very good, or yeah,
Yeah.
or I drew the wrong thing they're not into, and it was like yeah, I was doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I
It
wasn't.
zaps
I
the
wasn't.
fun out of it.
It does, yeah, because you're like, oh, what's the new movie coming out this week, and I need to
Yeah.
do
Quick,
characters
got to
for
draw
that, and
something so I get the traction while everyone's into it and blah blah blah. And it's just like
yeah,
that's a job.
it's a dangerous game, and like I see people still doing it, like
Mm.
obviously Fantastic Four coming out, see a lot of Fantastic Four stuff going up, people just trying to grab a little bit of attention, and it does sometimes help, get a little bit extra attention, but yeah, I found like when I stopped sort of chasing that stuff. But that was even like another transition because at one point, especially as I started doing more of my own books, I realized that like the fan art stuff was taking away like the attention from my own work. And I'm
Mm.
like, I just have to rip off the band aid and
Yeah.
like just not rely on the fan art stuff. And that was like a really decision that got made around the pandemic because we weren't going to cons anymore, like at that time.
Yeah.
And I'd been discussing with my wife for a while, like how are we going to transition, because we were selling fan art online. It was a part of our business, and at cons and stuff like that, and it was tough. It was like, do we want to give up this money and start selling my own stuff? And I'm like, if I'm going to, I need to like almost just do a complete clean break.
Yeah.
um, Especially because I'd be going back to shows, and I knew people were going to be asking, like, "Where's your chibi art?
Where's your stuff? Yeah. Yeah.
Where's the? I want to
Where's
keep
the
adding to my
goods?
collection."
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was like it was a good time to sort of break away from that crutch, because it
Yeah.
was a bit of a crutch. It was a crutch for likes. It was a crutch for money. It was a crutch. It was just like it was holding me back, and I had this sort of like epiphany too, where I'm like, I'm getting older, and I want to own things like these
Yeah.
the fan art stuff. I don't own it, and if I can create my own stuff, I have control over it, and and then it's stuff I can like pass along to my kids if I ever made anything half decent and popular.
Yeah.
Some kids could sell books later of or whatever. Just creating something, some sort of like thing to leave behind. Um, and yeah, so I made the clean break, and it take about a year, I think, before like my store sort of started to catch up revenue wise. But
Yeah.
since then, I've been able to like surpass when I used to sell like fan art stuff. So like
Wow.
it did work. Yeah. So like the just now that I have like a library of books,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it took a little bit of time, but now it's like I'm actually proud to say like I make more money now selling my own stuff than I did doing fan art.
And that's the
At
goal,
least,
right? Like I think a lot of
yeah.
us, that's it's quite a common conversation at the moment between creatives is you kind of just want to have something of your own now because I know everyone would. I mean, no one's. I'm never going to say no. If Marvel or whatever come to me and say, "Can you please do
Mhm,
X, Y, Z for us?" I'll be like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, of course I would." But
for
it's
sure.
not like the be all and end all anymore.
100%. No, yeah, you see it like, I mean, so many creators are turning to creating their own books and their own properties, especially with the state of the comic industry in general.
Yeah, and with
It's
self
really
publishing
hard.
being so available and ready and accessible
Yeah.
now, yeah, it's a no brainer.
And also like, when you break down the math of like, because I've been battling this with this myself, like especially when it came to like Crimson Fall, because I've had some interest from publishers
Hmm.
and trying to figure out like a business plan that works that I can still maintain like doing crowdfunding,
Yeah.
um, and as well as like going through the publisher, because that crowdfunding money is it's just too much to give up. Like
Oh yeah.
it's such a big portion of what the book makes compared to like what a publisher is going to do. If I'm selling my book, say for $10, like I'll be lucky if I get $1 from
Yeah.
that
Wow.
sale. Where when you crowdfund something, if your books are paid for by the crowdfunding, you're usually going to double the print run, and then every book after that is pure
Yeah.
cash in your pocket. So like then you're
That's
getting
it.
like $10 per sale, right? So just financially, it makes sense to if especially if you can move books. I mean, that's always a challenge as well, right? So it's like, sure, like make your own comics and stuff, but it's not easy to sort of like get eyeballs.
Yeah.
Going back to the algorithm thing, it's hard. Like that's I think one of the reasons why like you build a mailing list, you try to build your following online. A lot of that like plays into this.
Yeah. And do you find
You know,
having a because I don't have a mailing list. Like I
mm,
struggle keeping up with anything in my life at the moment with a toddler. But like, do you find that it's a little bit of a struggle to try and keep on top of that as well? Because I know once again that's like another load onto
yeah,
your plate that you have already.
yeah, it's not easy to sort of set aside, even if it's only like an hour of my day maybe to like write a newsletter and kind of set
Yeah.
it all up. But it still like sucks the time out. Like even though it's like maybe the task is an hour, you know this, like when you sit down, you do something, it just sucks a lot out of you.
Yeah.
And and then I tend to like when I'm done a task, I just kind of need to like leave my desk. I don't know what it is. Like
Yeah.
whether I worked on it for an hour or 3 hours, if I'm done that task, my brain's like, okay, we need to go do something else now.
Yeah. I need to go refresh somewhere else.
Yeah. So yeah, like the yeah, so the newsletter stuff, like I mean, yeah, it is extra work for sure.
Yeah. And
And
you see the return in it, I'm assuming.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, not
Well, now that you
here's
do
the thing.
from the sales.
Yes and no. I mean, it can be. It's definitely like it's an extra thing. I wish it was a little more. Say I posted like I put on a sale this week,
Yeah.
and I posted in my newsletter, and I didn't really see a sale come in
Oh
right
wow.
away in the
Yeah.
first like probably 8 hours. And then I got like a couple came in, and then I posted online, like in social media about it, and then more came in, and then we had like a good influx of sales. But yeah, I think it's like, I don't know. It doesn't always. I wish I could say like yes, like because I'm up to like almost 5,000 subscribers. I'm like at
Yeah,
4,800
wow.
or something.
That's
So
huge.
it's a good amount. But about 40% of the people open it. So
Oh,
they
wow.
show you all the stats, right? So like people aren't necessarily, even though they sign up for your newsletter, doesn't mean they're going to open it.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like when I follow other people's newsletters, I don't always open them because like I might just see it and I'll be like, oh,
And
I'll
you're like,
read
oh,
that
yeah, I'll
later, and
check
then I
that.
don't get
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
you know.
No, I get that.
So I think it's just the reality of people's lives, and yeah. So, but it's like I think we just as artists, as especially if you're doing anything independent, I think having as many outlets and as tools as you could muster. It's why I
Yeah.
stayed on Twitter. Like a lot of people bailed off of Twitter, and I certainly don't love the platform all that much for
Mm.
like the discourse side of things, but
But
I
people are
was
still
able
on
to
it.
sort of what's that?
People are still on it. They're still like, it's still
Yeah,
relevant as much as all the
customers.
controversy that happened around it. But
Yeah, like customers are still there. Like fans of
mm,
mine are still there. So it's always been like a decent earner. Like whenever I would say do a Kickstarter, I would always see like a good percentage of people spending came from Twitter. Probably overall the other social media platforms, it was always kind of
yeah,
like leading. Um, which is interesting just to think about, like and so like I didn't really want to give that up, but I always say to people too, like as annoying as Twitter is and can be, if you sort of just like utilize the little tab at the top that says like just who I follow, and you follow
yeah,
good people, you're not going to be inundated with a bunch of garbage.
yeah, yeah.
Like you'll get to see like positive things, right?
Whereas
Just depends on
Instagram's like, you got to look at what I want you to look at, even if
yeah,
it's not relevant. I want you to look at this, and you don't get a choice.
100%. Yeah, that gets real annoying. This will just be our whole podcast will just be shitting on Instagram.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I appreciate Instagram. I'm sorry, please
No,
don't sue me, but
no.
sorry, Meta. Yeah. And so
So
you
yeah.
like that continued your trajectory in terms of self-publishing, because you also have Bot9 as well, which
Hmm.
very cool because there's no words in that one, right?
No, no, it was wordless.
And that was you like was that you pulling from your animation side of things, like basically storyboarding something, and you weren't comfortable writing yet, or was that a conscious decision, like you actually wanted it to be that way?
Yeah, no, I guess yeah, pulling on the animation side of things and storyboarding, it was just I think it was just like I thought it would be just a good exercise
Mm,
in visual storytelling, not to lean on the words because I had just finished with Rune World and was looking for another project to do, and I just had this idea that like I'd watched a lot of Miyazaki movies.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I was I was a little late to the Miyazaki train. Like I knew of him, but I wasn't really like watching all his
actively, yeah,
movies. And
yeah.
then I just kind of I did a deep dive, and I was like, oh my god, it's like
It's
amazing.
like, it's amazing.
So
Everyone's right about him.
yeah. Like I'm like, what have I been doing with my life? Not watching this. So yeah, like and that just like really inspired me to do something like a little more like a little bit of more of an emotional sort of tie to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Having a little bit more heart to the story. And yeah, so I just kind of had this idea that like I'm like, what if the reader is the fish in this story? If I think
Mm,
about a reader as the fish, and I'm like, so I'm going to put the fish in a robot, and the robot's going to go on this journey. So you're just kind of going along for the ride, and you're going to figure out as the fish does what's kind of like this world's all about, and what's
yeah.
this story about. So that was sort of like a fun, like once I kind of had that epiphany of like the type of story I wanted to tell, that just
Felt
sort of
quite
helped.
natural.
Yeah, and it just kind of came together, and I don't know, like it was probably easier too, like because I didn't have to write dialogues, like I didn't need
Yeah,
to sit there and sort of pine over that stuff. It was just kind of like get to the bones of the story.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was a really good experiment. I was really happy with how it came out. And I that was at a time when I was doing kickstarting my art books, but I hadn't kickstarted a graphic novel yet,
Yeah.
and I was a little bit apprehensive about kickstarting a graphic novel. And so what I did was I was going to be releasing my first new art book in my creations series, where it was just original stuff. This is again me breaking away from fan art altogether, because my
Yeah.
previous three books had a mix of my own stuff and fan art in it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've got it behind
Um,
me. Where is
oh,
it?
do you?
Yeah, it's here. I've actually got two. I've got two of them.
No.
So I think that was through Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think you have a copy of. I think it was art book. Yeah. So that's creations is like the first in the other one, art book one XL. That was my fan art one,
Yeah.
or the fan art series. I did three in that series, but I discontinued those, and
Yeah.
then I moved on to creations. So yeah, so I piggybacked bot 9 on the creations Kickstarter and made it just like another tier.
Yeah.
So it was enough to like print the books and everything, because I knew my art books had done well in Kickstarter. So I'm like, I know I can fund the two projects this way.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that just kind of worked out there. I don't know if I had done like bot 9 on its own, how it would have done on its own at that point.
Yeah. So I think do you reckon people would have pushed back, like if you tried to market it by itself, do you reckon people would have pushed back at the fact that didn't have any wording in it?
Yeah, that's what I was just afraid. Like I was like, I don't know how the market's going to take it.
Yeah.
The response to it was great. And
But you wouldn't have known at the
it's
time, right?
what's that?
You wouldn't have known at the time, like before, like whether you were going to do
No,
a solo project or
no,
not, you know?
yeah, and also just being my second kind of graphic novel.
Yeah.
I was still trying to introduce people to like me doing comics, in my fan base for that matter. So, because like, I mean, I had done Rune World and it got published through Boom, and that was like cool and all, but it didn't really like explode. It wasn't like a crazy popular thing or anything. I would say it just had like mild success. So yeah, I think it was still like me trying to sort of like figure out this comic market. And so I did that, and then I was the next book I ended up doing was The Witch of Wickerson,
Yeah.
and that ended up being like, I really had this strong urge to do a Inktober where I did a page a day of a comic and then had a comic at the end. And so I'm like, because I'm like, I like to torture myself.
Don't we all?
And so I decided to do that. And it was another one of these things where I'm just like, I don't know how this is going to work out. But, I was, it's one of these things like where I think when you light a fire, like where you like have to get something done, like you put that pressure on, it forces you to make decisions that you would maybe sit on like normally, like storytelling decisions or just, the little details.
Yeah.
And so I found that was like super helpful for just pushing me through. And I was quite happy with the result in the end. And, it was like at the end of 30 days, I had a book just like ready for, essentially ready to send to print.
And you're just like, that's how our schedule works. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And deadlines. Oh my God.
This is how like a real comic artist do like a page a day. But I was like, it was like, I would pencil it like digitally, and then I would print it like in like a light blue, and then ink that traditionally, and then I would scan it back in, color it, letter it, like all in the one day. It was a marathon, like doing that like every day.
Yeah.
I had done about 4 pages ahead of time to give myself a bit of a buffer in case the world started to end or something while I was in mid. I have 2 kids, and sometimes things happen, and
that's it.
You you know it's like.
Oh yeah.
And so it was. I was just glad to have that kind of project done. I would love to do it again sometime, like with
Mm,
another idea. I don't know when. I don't
good
know if I
idea.
can handle it
Yeah.
at
Well,
this
it's
point.
you well, now that you've like created this big backlog. Well, you've just hustled really hard in terms of focusing and sticking to publishing your own stuff, and that's led you to some pretty wicked opportunities and getting to work with some great artists that led you to working on I Hate Fairyland as well,
Yeah,
which is awesome. Like that's a hugely like Scotty Young, like huge pinnacle in the industry. So was that
yeah,
like
yeah.
a how did you get to that stage?
So see, I knew of Skottie since like back in the message board days,
Mm,
like back in Lead Heavy. That's when he kind of like came on my radar.
yeah,
Um, and I'm not sure when I hit his radar. It was probably somewhere in that sort of like chibi when I was getting some sort of like notoriety on my stuff was like kind of going across, his vision
is
there.
yeah,
And so yeah, we just kind of like, we're mutual sort of like, knowing each other online and,
mm,
liking each other's things. And I had done like an I Hate Fairyland piece for Inktober that he like bought, which I thought was like super cool when I had put it up for sale
yeah,
at the end of the month. And like he bought it. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
yeah.
Um,
Like I've made it,
and that was probably,
mine.
yeah. So, and I think that was like probably like in 2019 or something like that. And
Yeah,
it wasn't even like the best. I very like looking back at it, I'm like that drawing wasn't very good, but
it's good
it was
enough.
yeah, it was good enough. It was good enough. Scotty liked it, so um, yeah. So we just kind of I was on his radar, I guess, and when he had his Substack deal to like do a bunch of like comics for Substack, and he hired a bunch of artists to do shorts. So I
Yep.
got to like write and draw a short. He asked me if I wanted to do one, and I was like, I jumped at the chance. I was like, yes,
Oh yeah,
because I was just a huge fan of the series ever since it came out. Like
yeah.
I was
Same.
always buying the trades. Never been a big singles guy. Probably not until like when I was a teenager. I bought singles. Like I was like an Image kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like yeah. Anyway, I jumped at the chance like to write and draw like a short, and not. But I didn't really have any other expectations beyond that.
Yeah.
And
You're
I
like,
guess when the
this is it.
opportunity, yeah. So when the opportunity came up, I guess that they needed to, get a new artist on the series. He reached
Hmm.
out, and I was like,
Yeah.
I did. I really. It was like it didn't take me long to decide. Like it was a big
Mm,
decision because it was definitely going to throw off sort of my
plan.
trajectory a little bit because I
Yeah.
was doing a lot of freelance still at the time. And so I had to like kind of like just discuss with my wife, like, is this the right move for us? And I'd be doing comics full time for like the first time in my life, really.
Yeah.
And so that was like, but I was hard. It was hard to say no to because I'm like, this is just like such a rare. How many of
Opportunity.
these like iconic sort of like characters exist out there that have like maintained,
And
for
God,
this
like, it would
long
be so
in
fun
the
to draw, like, just the chaos and the
yeah.
gore and stuff, and still you like very bubblegum, which is very you as well. Like, yeah, that would have been so much fun.
Yeah. So I was just, yeah, it was one of these things where I'm like, it's probably and I know that now, like, it's like, I think it's the most fun job in comics. Like,
Yeah.
if I had to, like, I'd be, you know, find me a more fun
Yeah.
series to work on. So yeah, it's been amazing. Like, I knew Scotty was a great guy, but, getting to work with him and his team, it's just like, they're just all amazing.
No,
They
yeah,
really just
that's
like
awesome.
welcome you with like open arms and like they're just so like kind and generous and it's also like Scotty's writing like makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
He really knows how to write for artists, being one himself.
Yeah, I think he touched base on that. I was watching one of the Ink Pulp episodes. Shout out to those boys. But
Mm-hmm.
he did mention that that was one of his big goals was actually like writing it. So he wasn't trying to control it so much and letting the artist do his thing, because yes, like you said, he's done it before, and he's obviously very talented and stuff, but not controlling the artist, because as soon as you do that, that's when the magic sort of starts to dissipate a little bit.
Right. Well, then I think though, I think there's he sells himself a little short too, because I think it's the way in which he writes allows for an artist to breathe when they need to breathe, but then also give them the direction when they need it as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's that perfect mix of like, here's where I can let you off the leash a little bit, and then here's where I need to rein you in. Like, just
Yeah.
it's right there in the script, and it's very like, it's not very often where I have to even really ask questions. Like, it's just, I get it. Like, it's I thought I was a little bit scared, because I was like, is it going to be a lot of like back and forth and like, oh, I got to change this because I didn't get it right, or I'm not cluing in. But it's like the way that, like, I don't know, we just tap in to each other. It seems to just work.
Yeah. That's good.
And yeah, so it's been a really good thing. So I just finished the 4th issue of my run. And initially I was only going to do 9 issues, but Skottie, like, pretty much after the first issue was like, can you just stay on?
Yeah. I need you.
And yeah, and it was just like, I think it was just, and I was like, yeah, I'm like, actually I will stay on.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm just like, now it's just like I'm full-time like comic artist, just trying to make this little. It's weird too, because like it was the thing I wanted when I was like a teenager.
Yeah,
like
that's it.
I spent my entire like teenage years just going like, I'm going to be a comic artist.
Yeah,
and it took until I was like 47 to make that happen.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get hung up on that the age thing. Like, I know there was one guy, and he mentioned like, I don't want to be doing comics when I'm 50. I'm like, why not? Like, what's wrong with that? Like, it's, if you're enjoying it and you're putting something out into the world that you've been wanting to do forever, like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And your timeline wise, like, oh, I should be bigger now or whatever. And but no, life gets in the way, and you just gotta, when you get there, you get there.
No, 100%. And I mean, I think it's one of those things where, like, when we decided, like, we wanted to do art for a living, I don't think any part of it was like, I want to do it until I'm 50 and then stop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I don't even know, like, if it's something inherently I could ever give up,
Yeah, no,
and just stop doing.
Would be unnatural.
Yeah. So I think it'll always be in us. So yeah. So anyway, Lauren, tell me a little bit about what you have cooking.
Oh God, I'm actually working on my own thing as well. So
oh, you are.
I literally was at the same sort of, you were mentioning that you just wanted to, rip the Band-Aid off, and that's basically where I'm at right now. So I'm trying to write. I'm trying to, storyboard it. Well, do your thumbnails, and so I started inking. I've inked the first page, and I started inking the second page, and I'm going to try. I was thinking about trying just fully coloring it, fully lettering it, and just releasing a page every like week or 2 weeks or something like that on Instagram. And then once the first chapter is all out, which is only 8 pages, it's like a prologue. Okay. That's when I'll get, hopefully get enough traction and then self-publish on Kickstarter. So
that'd be amazing.
Yeah, so a bit more gory to what I've done previously, because I did have Lana Luca, which I did a couple of years ago, but that sort of fizzled out a little bit, and then became a mother. So, and then I took on Maurice, which was a great first project because it wasn't too intense for me. Yes, it was 40 pages long for a single issue.
Oh wow!
But it was a little bit slower than what you would most like reading comics, and that was perfect for me. And working with Aaron, he was lovely. Like I told him straight up that I might like deadlines and stuff for me at that time. I was like, as long as you're happy to wait and I can give you the goods, because looking after a child this was before I had her put into daycare. Like she goes to daycare now, which is freed up a lot more time for me to be able to focus on this kind of stuff. So he was happy to wait, and it worked out really well. So now I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, so what do you want to do now? And how am I going to keep bringing in that work? I'm going to give myself work as well. So it's that constant juggle, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's really smart. And yeah, I wondered that, like, how you managed to juggle, like, being a mom with a young child, and trying to, keep your art career going. And,
Yeah.
because it's exhausting. It's exhausting without kids,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
That's it. Like it is a beast of its own. And I remember like I foolishly, before my daughter was born, I'd be like, it's fine. Like she'll just sleep in the bassinet behind me while I work, blah, blah, blah.
While you work, no problem.
Like idiot. Like it's not going to happen at all. And that never happened. This child just
No,
didn't want to sleep ever. So yeah,
how
I
dare
got
she?
really frustrated with the fact that I couldn't work, and I lost that autonomy quite a bit. And I was
Hmm.
so worried about being like forgotten on like social
Right,
media, or like I'd like worked so hard to get where I wanted, and I was, pushing back at just letting myself be one thing at a time. So yeah, I think I decided to leave it, and I actually went cold on social media for a little while, and then I feel like I'm back, and I feel like
yeah,
I'm really like I'm starting to find my feet again, and but in a whole different way, because obviously I had to completely rewire myself. But yeah, now I'm just more focusing on enjoying it, and you know doing this podcast and stuff like that. I'm trying different avenues, and yeah, it's all like you said. It's all just you got to keep trial and erroring, and putting yourself out there so those other jobs will come in. And I know that will happen one day. Whereas before I try and force it so much, and now I'm just like, those opportunities are going to come, whether it's next year or 5 years down the track. As long as I'm doing stuff right
right.
now that I love, then yeah, I think I'm good.
I know. I think that's like a healthy, smart sort of
Mm.
approach. And also, like, you can only control what you can control, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's the thing. If you're taking control of your own fate and your own destiny a little bit, and especially when you're doing your own stuff, that's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the best opportunity to learn the craft, like, and really sort of, like, I found, like, each project, like, I've done has been like a new, like, learning something new, whether it's a tool or a painting style or a
Mm.
storytelling style or something. It was just like a good opportunity to sort of mix it up, and yeah, like, not feel like, I don't know, like, growth is so important, like,
Oh
to
yeah.
keep, like, my, at least to keep my sanity. Like, I want to
Yeah.
feel like I'm moving forward in some
Progressing.
way. And I can't just, I can't, necessarily control if people are going to buy my book, right? But
Mm.
I can control what goes into the book and how it looks, and if
And
it's
how
something
it
I'm
feeds your
proud of.
soul as well. Like it's not always just about the
100%.
money side of things.
No, no, and I think the second you start to think that, like, as an artist, you
Hmm.
lose a lot of, like, the heart that goes into a project, in the love for the project.
Yeah.
I think, and I try not to measure my, like, sort of success as a, sort of indie publisher, comic creator, as, like, did this book sell enough, or, and I think it's just, you have to be able to let go of that. I think that's just super important.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think it's amazing that you're doing your own thing now, and, taking that leap,
Yeah.
and, like, it will, like, you'll grow, like, exponentially,
Oh, my
like, through
work's
that
already looking
process.
like 10 times better because
Right. It's
because
funny,
I'm
but
doing
that's
something
funny how
that's
that works, right?
oh yeah, like I think I mentioned this. I did an interview with Spedsy yesterday. We recorded an episode and we kind of touched on the same thing. It's like when you stop loving it, you can tell. You can really tell
Hmm.
when you stuff it
Hmm.
and you look at it and you're like, I did not enjoy doing that at all.
For sure. Oh, I've had projects like that, um, and yeah, it's tough when it becomes a job
Mm,
more than you know. I think that's the yeah, that's the
it's
point
the
where you
killer.
need to,
It's the killer of
yeah, you need to
magic.
make a change.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of the young ones kind of fall short a little bit is they sort of put themselves into one category like I'm going to be a comic artist. I'm only going to study comic work. And it's like
Hmm.
what it's like stop, don't limit yourself like that. Like go like I love studying surrealism. Like I love surrealism because it does like push it so far past the limit, but everything still makes
Right.
sense. Like the anatomy's still fine. Like and I think both you and I have very similar styles in terms of that. Like you can push the anatomy, but it still makes sense. And
Yeah, 100%.
when they limit themselves by what they're learning because they're like, well, that's not comic art. What am I going to learn from it? I'm like, it's the same with animation. Like all those skills are transferable, and I think that's why like a lot of the comic artists I know that do have an animation background, you can tell that their storyboarding, their thumbnailing is just so easy for them because they're thinking in that sort of mind frame. Um, all right, does that make sense a little bit?
No, 100%. No,
Yeah,
I tend to, even when I'm doing comics, I think about my stories as like almost like they're moving, whether it's
yeah,
like
as a
either
visual.
a live action or an animated thing, and I'm just taking a snapshot like of the like key frame, like that
That's it. That's
in
how
that
I think
scene.
too.
Yeah, and I think studying film is a big, a lot of times I'll study, I watch a lot of like Tarantino movies over and over again
Mm,
just for like the way he like paces a scene or like the shots he takes. And I just think a lot can be learned from, like you said, other art forms
yeah.
and be applied to comics. Yeah, not just looking at comics, and also like looking at different types of comics. I think like European comics and manga,
Oh,
and
I
trying
learned
to
so
like
much from
just
manga. Like manga is just intense. Like the energy that comes out of that stuff is just
yeah.
insane. And so I typically love looking at that for when I need a little bit more oomph to panels.
That's a good, yeah. When you need the oomph, you go to
Yeah, I
the
need
manga.
yeah. I just need the chaos.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. Um, and yeah, so okay, so you're doing your own book, and you're gonna. I think it's great that you're gonna put out some of the pages initially. I think that's really important too when you're
Mm.
trying to bring an audience and grow an audience for a project.
And engage their
I've
interest
always
a little bit.
done Yeah, I've always done that, like myself. Like at least, if even if I'm not going to share the entire thing, like I'll at least want to get 10 pages of like sequential storytelling. Like make sure those 10 pages like tell a story,
Yeah.
and or whatever, 6 pages, whatever it is, to give people a sense of what your project is. I the other day I was looking through. Every once in a while, I like to go on Kickstarter. I'm just kind of curious what people are putting out there, and there's a lot of mediocre stuff on Kickstarter,
Yeah.
to put it bluntly. And I'll find like two, like even the projects sort of catch my eye. A lot of them I'll like open it up, and they might have like a flashy cover. The interiors like
A
don't
bit
really
meh.
tell me what is, like there's like maybe like one or two interior shots, maybe like, or pages, maybe three, but they're not in sequence. They're just kind of showing off some stuff, and I'm like, one, is your project done or not yet, which is another thing we can talk about in a
Yeah.
minute. But also like what you're just, like I try to, I'm a potential customer here, and I'm like, what are you giving me? Like your pitch is right now, like you need to be pitching me. I'm looking at your page. I want a taste of what I'm going to be buying here.
Yeah.
And the way they poorly communicate like what exactly their book's about, giving me a sense of like what the style is, like what the writing is like.
And in the end, it
It's
is a risk. They're taking a risk and like supporting your project. So you
Yeah,
need to convince them that it's going to be worth their money and their time, and supporting you with that. So you're absolutely right. Like you need to give them a pitch. Basically, you are pitching to people when you're on Kickstarter.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's but you know what it says to me? It says to me like I don't know if they're confident in their work.
Yeah,
Like if they're afraid to sort of show it, and they're almost like, if I show it, people won't buy it. And
yeah,
it's like, that's, if you're there, then you probably shouldn't have been on Kickstarter to begin with.
yeah,
Like if that's where your confidence level, it just makes me think like either that, or they're just, they're ignorant to the notion of why, what the purpose of the page is.
yeah.
By the way, Lauren, you're done cross looking fucking awesome.
Oh, thanks. I'm just having, for some reason, having trouble with these hands, of course. And I think it's also what you said before, like finish your project before you put it on there.
Oh, that
Like
that is like the number
stop
one
putting
I
it.
tell everyone
Yeah,
who
it's
ever
well,
asks
and
about
also why would you want
Kickstarter.
to put the stress of yourself? Like once it gets funded, you're like, oh, quick, I got to hustle. And what if something happens? Like you can't control. Like what if your
No,
kid goes into
I,
hospital, or just stuff like that.
oh
Even
yeah. Well, I mean, I love Jake Parker. I'm gonna throw him under the bus a little bit, um, because like when he did his book Skyheart, he hadn't had it finished, and he kickstarted it, and he ran into that problem where like life happens,
yeah,
and in the money you get from Kickstarter, I mean, people also need to realize that like that those funds, like such a small percentage of that is actually going to go to the actual production,
yeah,
or time you put into the book. That's not necessarily where you're going to make your money. And so even if you have a successful Kickstarter and people see that, like, oh, you maybe, I think Jake had raised like over 100 grand for that,
wow,
and like it was really successful and was doing really well. But I mean, again, like it's not like 100 grand's going into his pocket, and then it's like he has bills to pay and he has to take on other jobs, and I think he had some family stuff he had to deal with, and so it's just like, and then you have to relay that to your audience, like, hey, I'm really sorry, like, things happen, and it's heartbreaking to see, especially when it's like friends of mine and
yeah,
stuff, and so like I'm always like, make sure you're done, or at the very least like 90% there, like
yeah.
you're just putting the finishing touches on your book, and you need it to be like right there, to cross that finish line, because that last push is hard, like that last
Oh yeah.
10% is hard. It's hard enough. um, and
And doing it
so yeah.
beforehand, you're giving yourself the time to have those incidents, and like when it's done, it's
Mhm.
done. You know.
Yeah, and enough issues, like, I mean, Kickstarters are a lot of work. They're I'm very fortunate that my wife has been handling like all my shipping and online stuff for, we've been
That's
doing this
awesome.
since 2015, I guess, having an online store, and so she's got like 10 years experience now, and we've done, I think, 8 Kickstarters, 7 or 8 Kickstarters, and so yeah, like, I mean, we're sort of veterans, but even though we know what we're doing, it's
Still
still like,
stressful.
it's still stressful. It's still a ton of work. You have to set aside like a lot of time. My poor wife has to like, spend her nights and weekends like trying to get all the stuff out, and
Mm.
she won't let me touch it because I don't know what I'm doing currently. When it comes to packaging things, she's like, just don't touch it. I'll do it,
Sorry.
which I get. Yeah, yeah. It's like I'm trying to be helpful, but I'm actually like being a hindrance. So yeah, it's but yeah, like I think it's like just to know like how much work a Kickstarter is, like,
Mm.
and Lauren, like when it comes time to do a Kickstarter, like definitely hit me up, and we can have a chat about the
Amazing.
little pitfalls and different things that maybe I can
Oh, thank you.
help you avoid.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
I've done
going,
three now. I've done three Kickstarters. There
okay,
was
you've
two.
done 3.
Yeah. So there was no, I did four. That's a few
Oh,
years
you've
ago
done
now.
4. See, this is the problem too. Like when I
Yeah.
said like you've been off my radar, like
Oh
the
no,
stupid
I
like,
fell off everyone's radar. I disappeared for a little while. So it's not you, it's me. Um but these were years ago. Like it was for like my first art books and stuff, and like um I made that poor decision of not having it finished. Like,
Okay.
I think the last one I did, which was the issue 2 of Lana, that was the one that I said, no, I've got to make sure this is pretty much finished, and then I'll put it up. But even then, I still fell behind. It's just, it really needs to be like everything wrapped up. All you have to do is just like hit send to the printer. That's where you want to be before you hit
Yeah.
the pledge stuff. Like, yeah, don't
100%.
mess around. Don't cause yourself that much stress.
No, I 100% agree.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that's just going to be a slow grind, and I'm totally okay with that.
So, are you also going to, when you post the stuff on, like, say, Instagram, are you going to post it anywhere else?
But that's the
Have you
thing. Like,
thought about?
I get overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that you have to do for social media, so I don't even know what's
Hmm.
relevant anymore. So,
Okay.
but that's why I wanted to start this podcast as well, because I need to start dabbling in all the different avenues to help get more eyes on my work, if I want to push myself forward a little bit more. And then obviously this is an educational thing too, but yeah, I always thought about just sending off, like, if I got those first 8 pages done, like actually print them off as like a little tiny floppy, and then
Hmm.
just send it off to people, and then they can either
Yeah.
review it on shows, and or just like post it on their social media. Like, it's really, I look at it as more networking. I know it's social network, but networking just like as you would at social events, or that sort of thing. We've got this really good event that just happened. What was it, a week ago or 2 weeks ago? Perth has their own Perth Comic Art Festival, and it's
Oh,
all
nice.
like you have to have something that you've created. You can't get in
Oh, good.
otherwise. Like, that is the main criteria of being able to go to that convention. And there's like insane amount of talent, and just some of the stuff that I've picked up at those shows. I didn't get to go this year, but some of the stuff I picked up from previous years, it's just phenomenal. Like, and you can tell there's just so much more quality, and yeah, and we bounce off each other in those events and go to the conventions. We only have the two conventions here in Australia, and Oz Comic
So
Con is
I was
like
gonna
meh.
ask you. I was gonna ask you, like, the challenges you have being in Australia.
Mm,
Like, I'm in Canada, and I mean, States isn't too far away, but I don't go to shows in the States anyway, just
yeah.
because there's always been like border. They don't
Oh,
like
the
you selling
chaos.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's more chaotic now, but I mean, even before, like, Trump was there, like, it was still like sketchy. Like, you always had to, like, lie, about what you're doing in the States,
Mm,
and I that made me weary. I didn't want to, get banned, or,
yeah.
from
Wow.
being able to come across the border, and so I was just like, I'll just stay in Canada, but we're limited here too, right? There's only so many shows that are viable.
Yeah. Or
Um,
worth it,
you know, we
really.
Yeah, to worth your time and stuff. So, which is probably a good thing, to be honest, because I mean, shows, as much as I love them and I love interacting with people and
Oh, they
getting to meet
just
fans and all that,
they cook you.
it's draining.
Yeah.
It's draining. It's draining.
The thing with the
Um,
Australian ones, they all kind of they work around the school holidays for the kids, because obviously
okay.
it makes more sense. So they jam pack them all together, and sometimes we've got Supernova and we've got Oz Comic Con. They both sort of sometimes they overlap each other in different cities, so there's a bit of chaos there in terms of, like, if you get invited to one, can you go to the other one? And then also, like, I feel like Oz Comic Con has sort of just stopped caring almost. They basically
Right.
just like pull in, um, I don't know, mostly actors, and they don't really focus on the comics side of things. Um,
Yeah, it's been like that over here. Like, those, it becomes more of a fan fest than a
yeah,
comic
that's
con,
it. That's
right?
exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then because they're so jammed together, we get 2 weeks of school holidays. So it goes, you get your 6 weeks over Christmas because that's summer, and then you get your 2 weeks every term. So we have 4 terms. And so they just jam them in. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to Sydney, and then the following weekend, I come back to Perth and have to do the next show. So it's like 2 weeks in a row. And I try not to travel too much at the moment, but it just it fries you because
Yeah.
the traveling, the heavy load, because carrying all your stuff with the luggage, it's not light. Like everything's like 30, 40
Oh.
kilos. Um, and then, yeah.
And how far away are these shows? Because I mean, I'm kind of ignorant to like the size of like
So
Australia.
Perth, so they do it Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Gold Coast, which is they're basically next door neighbours, and then Adelaide and Canberra. They don't do Tasmania because it's a logistical nightmare to get over there.
Okay.
Well, that's what I imagine anyway, because it'd be another flight. And so I'm on one side, I'm in Western Australia, and then all the rest are over in the eastern states. So, and
Oh, okay.
flying over there for me, like you're looking probably about $400 return.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and all those expenses
Yeah,
when you
ridiculous.
factor that into a show, um,
Like even if I
yeah,
get
that's always
invited and I don't have to pay for like a table or whatever, it's
sure.
like I still have to pay for me to get there, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, it's not like they're forking out for flights and hotels,
Hotels,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, it makes it difficult. No, for sure. There's a lot of times where you're like, yeah, you got to make a decision. Like, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna eat a
Yeah,
lot of
my
money
God.
going to this show.
Can my daughter have strawberries this week or not? Because goddamn, they're expensive. Yeah, so I just pick this year. I just decided just to do Sydney. That was it. I just did the one Eastern State show, and I've already done the two Perth shows, and that's me done for the year. And I was like, this is the. I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to focus on my stuff, and then next year we'll see how I'm sitting, and then we'll go from there. So I don't want to stretch myself too thin. So yeah,
Right. No, that's smart.
yeah, that's what I did the year before, and I was like, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, that is a lot. No, that's a lot. I couldn't imagine too, like trying to get all your merch like to a place like I had done Montreal, which is about it's like a 10-hour drive. Which so I decided to take a train this year, and I shipped all my stuff, and it was expensive to ship things, and then the train was expensive, and it was end up being a decent show, but you just it's tough when you're factoring in all the travel time. And
Oh yeah,
I was sick. Like I felt sick when I got back. Like I was out for like I missed a day of work when I got back because I was
yeah.
just
There's
completely
always the
exhausted.
con flu that always hits you post show.
Sure, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, Pepper. My cat is just meowing at me here.
It's like,
I don't know if the mic probably isn't picking it up, but
oh no, it's the cutest little meow in the background. It's very cute.
oh, okay.
But yeah.
Do you have any
So
pets?
yeah, I've got two dogs.
Oh wow.
They're wolfhound, staghound. So one's a rescue, and she's actually got a little bit of ridgeback in her, so she looks like a wolfhound terrier type thing, but she's got this mohawk that's like a good 2-3 inches on her back. Just because
Oh wow.
she's got that real wiry hair, but then she also got the ridgeback in there. She was a little rescue dog, so we don't actually know what she's got mostly in it, but she's definitely got ridgeback.
Yeah.
And then we've got so her name's Gumnut, which is the most Australian name you can probably think of. And then we've got Hagrid, who's the wolfhound staghound. So he's just like a big, long, skinny boy. Like when he stands up, he's the same height as me. So
Oh wow.
yeah, if I'm going to get a dog, it's going to be the biggest one you can probably find. But yeah, they're my companions. They're who I talk to before I go
Oh,
crazy.
that's great.
Yeah,
So they're like your office mates.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm very fortunate to be able to stay at home and work freelance basically full time
Yeah, I
now.
think that's
So,
especially like when you have kids, right?
oh
Having
yeah,
the ability to do that does go a long way, and also just to make your own hours when kids have to be picked up or driven somewhere.
and get gastro flared
It's
for the
just
50th time.
yeah, or just like when they're in school and like they have a school play or a
Yeah,
concert, or you can just break away and go do that stuff and not have to worry. And
yeah. But yeah, I do
so
remember working maybe 3 jobs at one time. Like I was teaching at one kid's school, and then I would be doing. I worked at a screen printing merch business, and then I would also do like gardening for someone. Like I was just making sure my husband was getting his apprenticeship, so we're now in a spot where I can step back now, and he is fully qualified and now can do the good thing and supporting us while I get to take a step back now and look after the little one and do my thing for a little bit.
That's awesome.
And it's like, sounds like with you guys, you both support each other, and you're at a spot where you can both sort of just focus on your stuff, but still have your own jobs by the sounds of it.
Yeah, like my wife does part-time secretary work for schools, so that kind of affords her to sort of like, if I have a lot of shipments that need to go out, she can book a day off like easily just in the schedule and just say like I'm not going to work Friday or whatever,
Yeah,
and get that stuff done. And yeah, it's like it's been really good to have that kind of flexibility. When she made the decision to like kind of go back to work, it was like find something that sort of works in our lifestyle,
yeah,
because it was like for a while she was just a stay-at-home mom, and then managed my business, because she still does like all of the like accounting and just deals
the
with all
fun
the tax
stuff.
stuff. Yeah, the fun stuff that I don't
Yeah,
have a wherewithal to do. And yeah, she'll do like, she manages like all the money and stuff. And yeah, if I didn't have her around, I wouldn't even know how to like pay the bill.
yeah.
I'm a child when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, what a legend.
Yeah, so I just get to draw. Like
Yeah,
that's how I set it up. I'm really spoiled in that way.
you just get to be a kid for the rest of your life now.
That's, I think, that's it was always the goal,
Yeah.
Lauren, just to remain as a constant child.
Okay.
I mean, what we do is, has a childlike quality to it, right? We just get to play imagination and pretend.
And then pull a hair out when it's not looking right.
Right. I love the blood splatter.
Oh yeah,
That's,
because Crimson Fall is a little bit
it's violent.
darker, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so like when I came up with the concept, I had just done, 3 essential all ages books. And so I'm like, I don't want to just be an all ages,
Yeah,
creator. And
pigeonhole yourself pretty much.
yeah, so I was just like, this next project I do needs to be something more violent and crazy.
Mm.
And so I've been a huge fan of Mignola, ever since I discovered him in college, and listening to like an interview where he said like he created Hellboy because he wanted like a sandbox to play in for like all his like darker, crazy, monsters and stories about all that stuff. And
Yeah,
I was like, you know what, I kind of need to like steal that
I
premise
get that.
and
Yeah,
make my own sort of dark sandbox to play in. And
yeah,
so that's what I did. And I've also like just been a huge fan of like Game of Thrones and The Witcher, and mostly The Witcher video game. Um, I've listened to like audiobooks and stuff, but I'm not like a big like pick up a novel guy.
yeah.
Um,
We're big
and
gamers as well, like Elden Ring, and I think
yeah,
my husband's playing Dark Souls at the moment, like that sort of like hack and slash, chaotic.
I had to stop playing Elden Ring because I was getting so angry. Like it wasn't healthy, and my wife would be like,
Are you
I
okay?
heard you last night in the basement like swearing, like just like I could hear it from the bedroom, like
Yeah.
on the 3rd floor. Like it's
That's
coming
like,
up through the vents.
oh, some of the fights I used to see my husband go through, I was like, are you enjoying this? Do you like
Right.
this game? He's like, I love it. Leave me alone.
It's a beautiful game, but it's
Yeah.
so frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like I don't know, like maybe if I was like a younger kid with like faster finger reflexes in my brain, like I can't do the moves anymore.
Yeah. It's like, I
I
came here to
can't react
relax.
quick enough. Yeah. Um, and so yeah. Anyway, being like a fan of all that stuff, I was just like, I just want to do something that's kind of in that vein. And so I just wanted to do like a Monster Hunter story,
Yeah,
and
cool.
that's kind of like how I came up with Sir Duncross and um, Father McKellen, who's his like sort of kind of his a little
His
bit of
moral
his Jiminy
compass.
Cricket. Yeah, it's like it's more his moral compass. Yeah, like that's
Yeah,
a
he's got his little
because he's
angel on
he's
his shoulder.
so hardened.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a like hard ass character. It needed something there to counterbalance that because I can't just have like a angry
Guy running around
shit
just being
talking.
like, fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah, which he does. Like, and
Yeah.
that's like someone pointed out they sent me like like an image where they'd clipped all the like fucks in the person just him saying it, and you know, and you know, they were just getting a kick out of like showing me that.
That's so good.
Um, but I'm like, you know what? Like, if I was in his situation, I'd be swearing that much. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's true to form.
Yeah. I
Um,
felt the
yeah,
same. So my like the one that I'm writing at the moment is yeah, going to be, like berserker, like a little bit more chaotic and a bit darker than what I've done before. So
love that.
yeah.
And so you're just like no holds barred, sort of on the
Yeah, well,
language. Are you in
yeah,
violence and
yeah.
stuff?
I'm just gonna go full ham on it. Like I don't care.
Nice.
Um, people don't like it, then it's not really for them anyway. But I'm so cautious about not. I don't want. It's the thing about. I don't know whether it's just me thinking about it, but as a female in the industry, I
Mm-hmm.
worry that I'm going to be just like taken as like, oh, she only draws like pretty things type deal,
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't
Right.
want that. And I do from time to time get a couple of messages on like Instagram or whatever from people who follow me. They're like, "Oh, you're a chick." Like I just from the way
Oh,
you draw, I don't like that's not what I envisioned. I was like, "Well, I've got
right.
issues, so that's for one." But yeah, I don't want to be like a girly girl, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
It's just not for me, and I don't want
it's
people
not for
thinking
you.
that I wouldn't
But
be able to.
how do you deal with that though? Like when someone sort of like, is it when someone's like, oh, I didn't like think you were a female or whatever. Like if they have that sort of
I'm just like
idea. Um,
surprise, like, like
but are
you
you a
know.
little bit like, I don't know, just kind of like taken aback at like that I don't know, that we associate like a certain style or aesthetic to a male, you know, thing. Like it's
I'm
like,
not. I'm not surprised. Like I
or is it
get
just
it.
is it just because of the industry and the way that like a lot of females maybe lean a certain way, or you know,
Yeah, like
it's they almost like stereotype themselves a little bit.
maybe. I think it's a bit of both. I always imagine like I think very visually. Like that's just how I think about things and how I solve things. And when I think women, I think organic. When I think men, I think geometric. And
Right. Okay.
I think you find that in a lot of, in particular, drawing styles. Like I see a lot more sharper, um, edgy stuff from the fellas, and I do see a lot more organic, flowy, softer stuff
Mm-hmm.
from the gals. And I'm floating in there somewhere because it does feel natural. Like I do love drawing pin-up girls, and I do love doing that softer sort of stuff, but I don't want
Right.
to be. I don't know. It's this weird thing. Maybe it's like me just wanting to be accepted or something. I don't know. I just don't want the fact that I'm a chick to hold me back. And
Right.
I can't imagine people ever
You want your
thinking
work to
that.
stand. You want your work to stand on its own.
Yeah, like I want to be. God, I think I do. I don't know whether I said this in one of the videos already, but I have been given opportunities because I'm a woman, and I don't.
Okay.
I don't want that. I want to be chosen because my work is good and not
Right.
solely based on the fact that I've got a different genetics. And
Yeah.
like
No. No. For sure.
I don't want people chosen because I want them chosen for their merit, and I only want to be chosen for my merit. And it's. But then, what if a really good project comes up that's with a really cool publisher or whatever, and they
Hmm.
do? I don't know. Maybe I'm just worried about being just another quota, ticking off like
Right.
diversity, and
And that's always like. I imagine like a struggle to sort of, because I mean, a lot, like as artists, like we kind of have that like imposter syndrome built in,
Mm,
right? Like, so it's like if someone is sort of, picking you for reasons outside of your like
skill set.
capabilities,
Yeah.
skill set. But at the same time, like you said, though, like it's like, that opportunity still might, you're going to learn maybe from it, right? You're going to
Mm,
grow from it, and it might open other doors for other things to then be able to break down those walls, or
yeah.
whatever, quote unquote, walls later. So it's like you can't say no,
No, you got to
but
play
I
into it
understand there's
sometimes.
like there's a reservation about that, I would imagine, and
Mm.
rightfully so. Um, yeah, like how, yeah,
It's a juggle. Like, and you know what? Probably I'm overthinking it. I don't even know. And
mm,
I see it in conventions and stuff. The lads, they get together and they get along easier. And like, are they? I've got some like I do have some colleagues in Australia that I do get along with really well, and they're all guys. Um,
right,
but I do worry that some people are a little bit more standoffish with me because I'm not one of the bros,
for
and
sure.
yeah, whether that's me overthinking it or and
No,
I'm
no,
putting that barrier up.
it's a clicky, even within like for males, it's
Mm,
still a clicky business, and then you
yeah.
add in like females into it, and yeah, like and I think it's certainly um because I've found, like, because I've been on the sort of fringe of comics,
Mm,
so I've never really been, you know known as a comic artist or in that world, and just like kind of dipping my toe in here and there, it is, yeah, it's certainly clicky, and you try to sort of like, you try to chum up with people because you know that, like, oh, if I'm friends with this person, this group will accept me more. Like, it's
yeah.
this weird like thing, and so I imagine that same thing goes for you, right? It gives you that, almost like a stamp of approval, like
Yeah.
to be in amongst the conversation or associated with like certain, individuals in the business, because
Mm,
it is clicky, and it sucks that it is.
yeah.
Um, but it's the reality of it. And, at the end of the day, though, like, your work is going to speak for yourself, because
And that's
it's
it.
like, and that's what it's going to be like, whether somebody picks up something off a shelf, like, it's going to be the work that gets it, the people are going to buy that book.
Yeah.
um I don't I mean, I've never bought a book based on someone's gender. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, I bought
Same.
that book because it looks awesome.
I'm
you
like,
know
yes.
and if it's like, if I don't care who drew it, like, or
Did the
whatever,
art
like, I'm
speak to
not
me or
thinking
not?
that.
Yeah. That goes back.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
just want my work to be the merit. Like, I want to be merited for that. I don't want to get a job just because of who I am behind the paper. I just want people going off what
right.
my art says, if that makes sense.
Well, and but here's the thing too, though. I think it's like, sometimes projects might want, a female with certain sensibilities to tackle a project based
Mm,
on, so it might be something that, like, even just like a studio or whatever who's producing the book, it's like
yeah.
that's almost their own, like, sort of like apprehensive about maybe like going for someone who maybe, I don't know, they don't want to take risks either,
Yeah.
so they might, you know what I mean, like, it's not necessarily like you, it might be them that's the
Yeah.
problem. That's the problem, right? Like, it's just, um you know
I've let go of
like,
a
I
lot of
think
that
you,
sort of stuff too. Like when I was younger, I was always so worried about being accepted by everybody. And, that comes with youth and, creating a
yes,
community and stuff like that. But now that I'm like, I'm just going to focus on doing my stuff. And I feel like the people will gravitate towards me that, are naturally going to be part of my community anyway. So it's an age thing. And I've let go of a lot of that insecurity and stuff now. And just, if people want to come enjoy doing the work with me, then yeah, let's go. Like,
yeah, exactly.
don't, yeah,
No,
just
I
don't,
mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And
yeah, Yeah.
Like, again, this is the thing, like we said before, like, it's like you can only control what you can control.
Yeah.
So, and what you can control is what, you put down on paper and what you put out to the world.
Mm.
So, that's it. That's what you can do. Like, that's, and everybody's going to, like, if people have their biases or they have, whatever their preconceived notions of
Yeah.
things,
Let them.
let them. It's not, and that's why, like, it goes back to that, like, you gotta just do projects for you,
Yeah.
first and foremost, and not worry about all the noise,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because
It
it's a
gets in the way.
distraction. We don't. It gets in the way of like your own, like, sort of like, greatness and what you're capable of.
Mm.
Um, and it's just yeah. It's a weird business we're in. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
What?
all headless chooks, really, just running around trying to guess where we're going, making some art
Yeah,
while we do it.
there's no answers to anything,
No,
really. And one person's advice is not necessarily the be all end all for
yeah,
anyone else.
yeah, yeah, and yeah. So in theory, well, not in theory. It's like at the end of it, we just make some good fucking art. Just make some good fucking
Yeah,
art, and then put it out into the world. And yeah, that's it. It's sounds simple, doesn't it?
it really does.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of good art, that looks incredible.
Thanks. Yours does as well. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely
Thank
love
you.
it. If you don't mind,
Yeah.
you when if you're going to do any more on it or whatever, send it to me and I'm going to put it in my, like, when eventually I do my next book, I'll put it as a pinup in the back
Oh, hell yeah.
with my other pinup gallery.
I would love to. I was about to say I was going to do this traditionally, just because my setup, I can't do it traditionally on film. So I'm going to do an actual inked version, and I'll fire it over
Okay.
to you, and it's be all yours.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, it would be an absolute pleasure and an honor, really. Because, yeah, like I said, huge fan of yours. So, yeah. Anyway,
Likewise.
we've hit like, well, it says an hour and a half now. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, we did good. We did good. We got
Yeah.
a drawing done. We chatted, and who knows what we talked about,
yeah.
really, but
Yeah.
did
And
we make any sense?
if you ever want to jump on again, we can draw something else. Let me know, and I would absolutely love to have you on again.
Yeah, definitely.
So your next steps, now that you've wrapped up, was it issue 4 of I Hate Fairyland for your stuff anyway? What are your next steps? And just so people can stay in the loop.
Yeah, so next, I mean, I'm waiting on the next script from Skottie. I know he's got a lot of convention stuff happening right now, so I have a little bit of a break. We have a fill-in artist for the next issue of Fairyland after this one I've done. So the October issue will be a fill-in artist, and then so I'll just be doing the next issue. I'm trying to do the next Crimson Fall book right now. I've been writing it this week,
Very cool.
making some bigger strides there, and but it's a big hill to climb. So I don't know. I'm hoping to get a Kickstarter for that next spring, maybe.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
Yeah,
and so that's pretty much it. Just work on my own stuff and
awesome. Fill that cup a little bit.
Yeah.
After you've been hustling hard. But yeah, that's cool. So where can people find, like, social media? Obviously, I'll have everything down in the comments for the YouTube video, but obviously, best places to find you?
Yeah, just like DerekLaufman.com is the best, because I have all
everything
my
on
social
there.
media links in there and my store and all that stuff. So yeah, you can go there, check that out.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Derek. As said, absolute pleasure to have you on. Huge fan. So have a good night, and hopefully when we see your next issues come out, we'll pick them up, and everyone make sure that you pick up Crimson Fall, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you so much.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Lauren.
Bye.
Bye.